Did you think, I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up. I mean, I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated.
Elon Musk, known for his genius and boldness, broke down in tears during a live TV appearance.
Can we just break for a second?
Sure, of course. Yeah.
Leaving the audience speechless. Behind his success, he's faced relentless battles, from childhood bullying to overwhelming pressure. Musk has even turned to drugs to cope with depression and the toll of constant stress. Adding to his struggles, he received death threats over his connection with Donald Trump's administration. How much can one person endure? What does it feel like to fight unseen battles every day? Join us as we look at how Elon Musk cried on live TV, leaving the audience speechless. The challenges Elon Musk faces in life. Even the richest people carry silent struggles that no one sees. Elon Musk is one of them. In a heartfelt interview with Don Lemon, Elon spoke about his battle with depression and how he turns to ketamine to cope. He described moments when his mind sinks into a dark place, not because of anything happening around him, but because of something deeper inside. He said ketamine helps him escape that darkness, giving him a brief moment of relief. Musk usually keeps things like this private, but this time, he spoke up not only for himself, but in the hope that his honesty might help others. But how did he reach this point? What led to his struggles? What you're about to hear will touch your heart. Despite his success, Musk has faced battles that money could never fix. As a child, he had an endless hunger for knowledge, reading a book a day. One of his happiest moments was convincing his dad to buy him a Commodore VIVAC 20, an old computer. The lessons were supposed to take 6 months, but he finished them in just 3 days. Then he created his own video game and sold it for $500. But his love for learning came at a painful cost. He was often bullied, teased, and sometimes attacked. Once he was beaten so badly that he blacked out and spent a week in the hospital. But even that wasn't the worst part. The hardest thing was not having a safe and loving home to return to. His father, a distant and troubled figure, brought even more pain into his life. Musk rarely speaks about it, but he admitted that his father made his life miserable in ways he couldn't fully explain. The emotional wounds ran deep, leaving emotional scars that shaped his outlook on life. In the end, he left South Africa all alone, with nothing and no one. He went to Canada, struggling without a stable home, until his brother joined him. Together, they found their way to Palo Alto and started their first business. Zip2, their company, was like an early version of Google Maps, and it eventually sold for $307 million. But the journey was far from easy. Investors forced them to change their vision, shifting the focus away from consumers and turning it into a business directory for media companies. Then came his first major failure, a canceled merger that shattered his hopes. You might be wondering, wait, didn't Elon start PayPal? Well, something unexpected happened while he was away on his honeymoon. In one of the most dramatic takeovers in Silicon Valley history, he was removed as CEO. By the time he returned, hoping to fix things, it was too late. He had lost control. PayPal emerged from what was left of the company. Then after yet another failed merger, Musk tried to take a step back. But just when he thought he could finally rest, disaster struck. While visiting South Africa, he caught malaria. It was so severe that doctors told him he had only 1 day to live. He somehow survived, but the illness took a toll, leaving him 45 pounds lighter after 6 months of recovery. Just as he regained his strength, eBay purchased PayPal for $1.5 billion, earning Musk $250 million. But even in victory, controversy followed. A book released right after the sale painted him as the villain, blaming him for many of the company's struggles. No matter how much he achieved, failure and betrayal always seemed to follow him. It felt like Elon Musk couldn't escape hardship. Every success was met with another painful setback. Just as SpaceX was beginning to grow, tragedy struck. His first son, Nevada, passed away from sudden infant death syndrome. The pain was unimaginable, but Musk kept moving forward. As SpaceX expanded, he became known as a demanding and intense leader. One employee described how Elon's unhappiness affected everyone around him. The pressure was relentless. Even Steve Davis, one of his top engineers, experienced Musk's tough side. Davis was assigned an impossible challenge: to build a $120,000 part with only $5,000. He worked tirelessly for 9 months and, against all odds, managed to create it for just $3,900. Eager to share his success, he emailed Elon, expecting recognition for his hard work. But instead of praise, All he received was a brief, emotionless response. Okay. Then came Tesla. When the company finally unveiled its first concept car, the launch seemed like a success. 30 high-profile clients placed pre-orders, each paying $90,000. But the celebration was short-lived. The press release for the event failed to list Musk as a founder. Then, a New York Times article did the same. He was furious. Meanwhile, Tesla struggled with costly parts and production delays, pushing Musk's frustration to the edge. Determined to take control, he called for a board meeting to remove Martin Eberhard as CEO. The board agreed. The original founder was gone. After an interim CEO, Musk officially took over in 2008. It seemed like every victory came with a new battle. But no matter how many times life knocked him down, he never stopped fighting. Elon's leadership became even more intense and demanding as time went on. To speed up the design of the Tesla Model S, he pushed his employees to their limits, splitting them into two teams that worked non-stop, 24 hours a day. As one author put it, for Musk, nothing was ever enough. Despite SpaceX's major milestone in 2010, with the successful launch of the Dragon capsule, Elon didn't slow down. While his top executives were dressed in tuxedos, celebrating at a party, he pulled them aside just to yell at them. The reason? A part for a future rocket was behind schedule. His temper and relentless expectations only grew stronger as he tried to juggle multiple companies. And while his work consumed him, his personal life crumbled. He went through a painful divorce with his first wife, Justine, who later wrote harsh things about him on her blog. But that wasn't the only marriage that fell apart. He also divorced his second wife, and people began to say that even though he presented himself as a conservative man, he still couldn't hold a marriage together. As if that wasn't enough, Martin Eberhard, Tesla's original founder, sued him for being forced out of the company. But perhaps the most painful betrayal was with someone who had stood by him through everything, his longtime assistant, Mary Beth Brown. She had been by his side for years, supporting him in every way across all his companies. One day, she asked to be paid fairly for her work. Instead of answering her request, Elon told her to take a 2-week vacation while he decided if she was really needed. When she returned, he told her he no longer required her services. Though he later denied this on Twitter, the pain of what happened was real. It was a side of him no one expected. The ruthless leader who left even those closest to him feeling abandoned. Elon Musk cried on live TV. In a world where crying is seen as weakness, especially for men, Elon Musk has challenged that idea. There have been moments when he couldn't hold back his emotions, whether from relief or deep sadness. He doesn't like to appear vulnerable, but why should it be wrong for him to cry? One of the most emotional moments happened during a famous interview with the New York Times. As he spoke about the heavy toll of entrepreneurship, Musk broke down. The journalist, David Gelles, later called it one of the most extraordinary interviews of his career. He was shocked by Musk's raw honesty, something rarely seen in powerful executives. For over a week after the article was published, Musk's emotional moment became a global media discussion. Celebrities and journalists weighed in, but Musk stayed silent. Eventually, he responded, possibly reacting to an article titled, "A Female Founder's Take on the Tears of Elon Musk." He downplayed the situation, saying his voice cracked just once. No tears, no breakdown. Running a company is incredibly hard, and Musk, a visionary leader, carries his mission alone without a traditional executive team to support him. That wasn't the only time he was seen crying in public. Even the strongest people can break under pressure, and Musk, despite his tough image, was no exception. Elon was seen crying on stage at Tesla's annual shareholder meeting in Mountain View, California, when the vote to keep him as chairman was announced. A proposal had been made to remove him, and when it was rejected, the weight of it all hit him hard. The thought of losing the company he had given everything to shook him deeply. The vote of confidence came at a time when Tesla was facing its hardest year yet. Production delays with the highly anticipated Model 3, worker safety issues, discrimination claims, and growing doubts over Tesla's semi-autonomous tech all cast a shadow over the company's future. At the same meeting, shareholders also voted to keep board members like Antonio Gracias, Kimball Musk, and James Murdoch, even though many questioned whether they could truly help Musk through these struggles. A shareholder proposed removing Musk as chairman, worried that he was taking on too much with so many leadership roles. In Tesla's early days, he had managed both CEO and chairman positions well, but as the company grew in a fast-paced, competitive industry, many feared it was becoming too much. There were concerns that holding both roles could create conflicts. Still, many believed Musk would stay in power because of his rare ability to raise funds and inspire investors with his bold vision for the future. Whether or not you believe in astrology, it's hard to ignore patterns in Musk's behavior. Some say cancers are deeply emotional, and Musk's life seems to reflect that. Walter Isaacson's biography shares stories that reveal just how much emotion plays a role in his life. While Musk expects his employees to be tough, he himself has faced many emotional breakdowns. One of the most unforgettable moments happened on Christmas Eve in 2008. Musk was desperately trying to secure funding to save Tesla. After spending a grueling day on the phone, he finally got the news the money had come through. His wife, Tallulah Riley, was wrapping presents when Musk, overwhelmed with relief, broke down in tears. It's easy to understand crying from relief, but there's something unsettling about the same man who fires employees over small mistakes openly crying on 60 Minutes over perceived attacks on SpaceX. Isaacson suggests that Musk's extreme emotional swings come from deep trauma, particularly from his difficult relationship with his father. His emotional instability mirrored the unpredictable temperament of his father, Errol. Musk's family, including his cousin Peter, have shared how Errol's sudden mood shifts may have left a lasting mark on the billionaire. Peter Reeve remembers how unpredictable Errol was. Some days he would surprise them with gifts like motorbikes. Other days he'd be furious, forcing them to do humiliating tasks like scrubbing toilets with a toothbrush. Reeve says Elon has a similar pattern. When he's happy, he's full of energy and excitement. But when he's in a bad mood, it feels like walking on eggshells. Errol's influence on Musk seems undeniable. He often confided in his ex-wife, Tallulah Riley, about his painful past. One night, he broke down, sharing brutal and haunting memories of his father. Riley recalls how Musk would sometimes drift into deep thought, almost as if lost in a trance, repeating the painful words his father had said to him. But what disturbed her most was hearing Musk use those same words when he was angry. His father's treatment had left deep scars. When Musk later discovered that Errol had fathered a child with his own stepsister, it pushed him to finally open up in an interview in 2017. His voice trembled as he described Errol as such a terrible human being. Yet despite that emotional moment, Musk later told his chief of staff that he couldn't even remember the last time he cried. The weight of his father's cruelty still lingers, a burden Musk carries even as he reaches extraordinary success. The tragic rift between Elon Musk and his estranged daughter. One of the most heartbreaking moments in Elon Musk's life is rarely talked about: his estrangement from his child, now his daughter. In an emotional interview, Musk opened up about his deep sorrow, saying he felt as if his transgender daughter had been killed by what he called the woke mind virus. He remembered how, during the pandemic, he was convinced to approve gender-affirming care for his child, Vivian Jenna Wilson. Musk said he hadn't fully understood what was happening at the time. He was told his child was at risk of suicide, and out of fear, he signed the documents without realizing the full consequences. But what is the truth behind this? What does his daughter have to say? Stay tuned. What you're about to hear will blow your mind. With a heavy heart, Musk referred to his daughter by her former name, grieving the loss of the child he once knew. He described the experience as a form of child mutilation and sterilization, believing that children are too young to make such life-altering decisions. Musk said he lost a son, explaining that the term dead naming exists because it feels like the person is gone. The pain of this loss changed him, pushing him toward a mission. But no matter what, the emotional weight of it stays with him. What makes it even harder is that his daughter, Vivian Jenna Wilson, has only spoken about him with bitterness, especially on social media. When Musk publicly misgendered his 20-year-old daughter, she didn't stay silent. Wilson, who had legally changed her name at 18 to cut ties with her father, fired back sharply. She made it clear her father no longer had any control over her, and nothing he said could change that. Vivian Jenna Wilson made it clear her father was upset because he could no longer control her. She didn't hold back, calling him a delusional and petty control freak who had never truly grown up. Her words were sharp, revealing just how broken their relationship had become. When Musk claimed he had lost her to wokeness, she dismissed his words as tired and unoriginal. She was interested in his complaints, saying she was simply bored of hearing the same things over and over. Her frustration was clear, and she made one thing certain: his problems were not hers to fix. It was another painful moment where she rejected her father's version of their relationship, calling his story about her childhood a complete lie. She accused Musk of twisting her past to fit his own narrative, reminding everyone that he was barely around while she was growing up. And when he was there, she said, she was constantly criticized just for being herself. She also accused him of turning her into a stereotype, using her however he pleased. To her, this wasn't just about their relationship, it was about how he treated queer people, children, and women as a whole. Her words painted a painful picture of a father who saw relationships as something to control rather than cherish. In her eyes, Musk's need for control wasn't just a problem in their family, but in every part of his life. Vivian's decision to cut ties with her father, changing her name and speaking out, showed just how deep their emotional divide had become. Musk may be one of the most powerful men in the world, but even he couldn't escape the pain of being rejected by his own child. Elon Musk faces death threats over his ties to Donald Trump. Elon Musk, now leading the newly created Department of Government Efficiency, has found himself at the center of a storm. As part of Donald Trump's plan to cut federal spending, Musk's restructuring efforts have led to widespread layoffs and budget reductions across multiple government agencies. Musk believes these changes are necessary to prevent a financial collapse, but his policies have sparked fierce opposition. This backlash has resulted in mass resignations, legal battles, and even death threats aimed at him. What is Elon Musk doing about this? Brace yourself. You never saw this coming. Before Trump's second term, Musk did everything in his power to ensure Trump's victory. He used his platform on X, formerly Twitter, to campaign for Trump, despite the growing resistance, including the harsh criticism from his own daughter, who distanced herself from him and labeled him despicable. Still, Musk remained unwavering in his support for Trump after the re-election. As opposition continues to build, Musk remains firm in his belief that his department has identified billions in savings. However, accounting errors, public outrage, and the continuous threats against him have cast doubt on the long-term success of his reforms. With Trump's continued support, Musk still holds significant influence over federal spending policies. Yet the future of Doge and Musk's role within the administration seems increasingly uncertain. In addition to managing Tesla and SpaceX,
okay, you've got your finger in so many different advanced technologies. As I said, SpaceX, Tesla.
Musk now serves as a senior advisor to Trump, focusing on restructuring the federal budget. His appointment as head of Doge was intended to cut unnecessary government expenditures, with Musk promising to save at least $1 trillion, about 15% of the U.S. government's $7 trillion annual budget. During a cabinet meeting, Musk acknowledged the intense criticism and threats he was receiving. He admitted to facing a barrage of death threats, expressing that the pressure was overwhelming, but he also insisted that these measures were essential to prevent the country from going bankrupt. Despite this, Trump stood by Musk, dismissing any concerns within the administration and joking about those who were unhappy with Musk's efforts. The reality, however, is far from a joke. Musk's policies have already led to the dismissal of around 100,000 federal workers, many of whom were forced out through buyouts or layoffs. Through all this, Musk has stayed committed to his mission, believing it is crucial for the country's financial future. But the emotional toll of facing constant threats and backlash is evident. Musk is standing firm in his conviction, yet the cost of carrying such weight seems to be taking its toll. In the midst of all this turmoil, it's clear that Musk is isolated at the center of this storm. His actions have made him a target, not only from those who oppose his vision, but from the very system he's trying to change. Despite the relentless pressure, Musk continues, not because it's easy, but because he believes it's necessary. The emotional strain of being in such a position of constant scrutiny and threat is becoming harder to ignore. Musk's drastic reforms have led to a growing storm of resistance, both within the government and among the public. His directive requiring federal employees to send weekly reports on their work was met with strong opposition from several high-ranking officials. On February 23rd, Musk's team sent an email requesting government workers to list about 5 bullet points of what they accomplished each week. Musk later explained that this wasn't a performance review, but a simple pulse check. While around 1 million workers complied, others pushed back. FBI Director Kash Patel and National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard reportedly told their teams to disregard the order. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt defended the request, saying that it was a simple ask for federal employees who are funded by taxpayers to show what they'd done the previous week. However, as tensions escalate, Musk has been targeted with even more serious threats. Recently, a man named David Cherry from Palmyra, Indiana, was arrested for posting threats against Musk on social media. He was found with firearms, ammunition, and a ballistic vest, and now faces charges of intimidation. Musk's push for aggressive budget cuts has been justified by claims of large financial savings, but those numbers are now under scrutiny. Initially, Doge reported $16.6 billion in savings, which was later corrected to $9.6 billion due to accounting errors. One of the most significant mistakes was an $8 billion saving attributed to immigration and customs enforcement. Upon investigation, it was revealed that ICE's entire budget was $8 billion, meaning the real cut should have been only $8 million. This error was quietly removed from Doge's public records. Another disputed claim was a $1.9 billion cut to the Treasury Department, which was actually the cancellation of a contract made under the previous administration. Additionally, 3 separate cuts to USAID's budget, each worth $655 million, were mistakenly counted 3 times. Despite these corrections, Doge has now raised its claimed savings to $65 billion, which has caused further confusion. The White House has been vague, only saying that Musk's efforts have identified billions of dollars in savings. The fallout from Musk's policies has led to numerous resignations among federal workers. Over 20 senior officials resigned on Tuesday, saying they could not use their skills to dismantle vital public services. These departures have intensified criticism of Doge's restructuring efforts. However, President Trump has continued to strongly support Musk, dismissing concerns and standing by his decision to push forward with the cuts. This signals that the administration still sees these measures as essential for the future, even as the opposition grows louder. Beyond the budget cuts, Musk has also promised to modernize the government's outdated technology systems. At a cabinet meeting, he described himself as the government's tech support, talking about his efforts to update federal infrastructure. He praised the cabinet, calling it the best team ever assembled and highlighting the incredible talent within it. Despite his unwavering commitment, the broader impact of Doge's work remains uncertain, and Musk feels the weight of constant scrutiny and threats. It's clear that his mission is pushing him to the edge, as every step he takes seems to bring more resistance and more personal attacks, leaving him trapped in the center of it all. The relentless protests targeting Elon Musk's business. Due to all these Elon's activities under Donald Trump, he is now being hunted, not with weapons, but with outrage, protests, and a relentless campaign to tear him down. Crowds of furious demonstrators have begun gathering outside Tesla dealerships across the country, determined to strike at his fortune. Their goal is clear: make him pay for the sweeping purge of the U.S. government under President Donald Trump. The movement is escalating, with protesters targeting Tesla locations and vehicles in direct opposition to Musk's leadership of the newly formed Department of Government Efficiency. With access to sensitive government data and the power to shut down entire agencies, he has pushed forward with drastic budget cuts, igniting nationwide anger. Elon's estimated fortune of $340 billion is largely tied to Tesla, the company he continues to run while simultaneously reshaping the federal government. Now that wealth is under attack. Is the attack continuous? Will Elon rescind some of his decisions? You're at the edge of your seat, and it's about to get even better. In Miami on March 29th, a passing driver signaled support to protesters standing outside a Tesla dealership as part of an internationally coordinated effort. This was not just another scattered demonstration. This was a full-scale effort to encircle all 277 Tesla showrooms and service centers in the U.S. Protesters hoped to drive down sales, deepening the company's recent financial struggles. By early afternoon, groups ranging from small gatherings to massive crowds had taken over Tesla locations in several states, including New Jersey, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, Maryland, Minnesota, and Texas. On social media, images circulated of protesters holding signs denouncing Musk's influence over the government and his growing power. The Tesla takedown movement has also spread beyond U.S. borders, with demonstrations planned at more than 230 Tesla locations worldwide. While turnout in European cities has not matched the scale of the U.S. protests, the anger toward Musk remains the same. With every step Musk takes, the resistance against him grows stronger. His decisions have placed him at the center of a storm, and now his own empire is being threatened. In London, a sign at the protest compared Elon Musk to Adolf Hitler, using an old photo of him alongside an image of Hitler giving the Nazi salute. The accusation stemmed from a gesture Musk was said to have made shortly after Trump's inauguration. One protester dressed in a Tyrannosaurus Rex costume held up another sign pointing to Musk's straight-arm gesture, implying a disturbing connection to the past. The message was clear. They saw Musk as a danger and wanted the world to know. Among the protesters was Cam Whitten, an American who had traveled to London for the demonstration. The goal, he explained, was to get people's attention, make noise, and spread awareness about the growing concerns surrounding Musk's leadership of Doge. The Tesla takedown movement wasn't just fueled by angry citizens. It had gained support from frustrated Tesla owners, celebrities like actor John Cusack, and even political figures like Democratic lawmaker Jasmine Crockett from Dallas. But not everyone was content with just protesting. Some took things further, setting Tesla cars on fire and vandalizing the company's properties. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi strongly condemned these actions, labeling them as acts of domestic terrorism. Musk, caught off guard by the escalating attacks, seemed bewildered when addressing his employees in March. He struggled to understand the level of hostility, urging those responsible to stop what he saw as irrational and destructive behavior. Despite the rising tensions, Crockett and other organizers of the Tesla takedown movement urged protesters to remain peaceful. Yet early on Saturday morning, police were already investigating a fire in northwestern Germany that had destroyed 7 Tesla vehicles. Meanwhile, many consumers who once proudly drove Tesla cars were now distancing themselves from the brand. Some were trading in their vehicles, while others slapped on bumper stickers making it clear they didn't support Musk's role in cutting government agencies. But Musk showed no signs of worry about the declining sales. Speaking to Tesla employees on March 20th, he remained confident. He assured them that despite the backlash, the refreshed Model Y would continue to be the best-selling car in the world. He also looked ahead, predicting that by next year, Tesla would have sold over 10 million cars worldwide, a jump from the current 7 million. The initial excitement among investors when Trump won the election in November had driven Tesla's stock up by 70%. Musk's alliance with the president was seen as a boost for Tesla's ambitious plans to expand its self-driving car network. The surge in stock value had added $560 billion to shareholder wealth, but that optimism had all but disappeared. The protests, declining sales across the US, Europe, and China, and Musk's increasing focus on Doge had shaken investors' confidence. Almost all those stock gains had vanished, leaving Tesla in a far more uncertain position than before. Musk, once admired for his innovations, now faces relentless opposition from every direction. No matter what he does, the backlash only seems to grow stronger. Why does Elon Musk get so much hate? What's the most striking part of his life story? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Also, click the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.